You've cut the carbs, you've tried intermittent fasting, and you're eating less than you ever have. You're dragging yourself to boot camp classes, and you still have belly fat that wasn't there 2 years ago. You're crashing at 3 p.m. and you're lying awake at 2 a.m., even though you are completely exhausted. So, today I'm going to tell you what nobody else is saying. You are working incredibly hard at the wrong things. And until somebody calls you out for that, you're going to keep doing it and keep feeling like this. So, today I'm going to break down 5 myths that you have been told about perimenopause and what you can actually do instead. Okay, first myth, and this is probably the one that you've been following the longest. You need to eat less to lose weight. And I want you to know that I get this because I thought the same thing for so long. And yeah, maybe it works for like a minute. You cut some calories and maybe you lose a couple pounds and you're like, yes, this is finally it. But then you start eating again and your body just starts holding on to everything. Like it's mad at you for starving it. So you're back to where you started, and except now you are more exhausted than before. So the thing is that in perimenopause, your body actually needs fat for fuel. Your insulin sensitivity is changing so much, and you can become insulin resistant way more easily than you did even in your early 30s. When you're not eating enough, specifically not getting enough fiber and protein, then a few things are going to start to fall apart at the same time. Okay. So some of those things include not clearing your estrogen properly, and your liver needs these nutrients so it can do that job. So if you're under eating, it can't. And then you also lose satiety signals. So protein and fiber are telling you that your brain is full. And if you don't have protein and no fiber, then you're hungry an hour after you ate. So these are some of the things that your body is just holding on to. Your body doesn't know that you're trying to lose weight. It just knows that you're not getting enough of what it actually needs. So it's like holding on tighter. So instead, I want you to actually eat more, okay? Specifically more protein and more fiber. And I talk about this in my Easy Plate method. And that is really, really simple. And it's something that I work with in side of the collective a lot with my clients. And it's one of the, you know, big things that actually moves the needle. When you're getting enough protein and you're getting enough fiber, then your blood sugar is going to help stay stable. And you're not going to have those crashes that you're seeing all the time that's actually leading to that insulin issue that is making you more hungry and making you gain weight and not lose it. Okay. So look, if eating less isn't the answer, what about the food itself? Because the next myth is something that almost every woman in perimenopause is doing right now, and it's wrecking your sleep and your energy, and you probably don't even know it. And that is myth number 2, carbs are the enemy. And look, everybody tells you to go like low carb or keto in perimenopause, right? Cut the carbs, lose the weight. And I get why it sounds logical. Because carbs spike your blood sugar, right? And blood sugar causes weight gain, which is what we just talked about. You become more insulin resistant. Look, I have tried this before. I went low carb thinking that it would finally be the thing that worked. I cut out the rice, the potatoes, most of my fruit. And maybe for a little bit I felt okay, but then I couldn't sleep. I was waking up and my workouts were like absolutely awful. And I started like obsessing about food because all I could think about was the carbs. I was still gaining weight and I was miserable and it wasn't working. But in perimenopause, you actually need carbs, okay? Because it helps with your hormone production. Like your brain needs carbs to produce serotonin, okay? Serotonin is what converts to melatonin, which is what helps you sleep. So if you're not sleeping and you've been cutting carbs, it's not really a coincidence. It's just kind of cause and effect. Also, if you're working out and you're not eating carbs, that's a big no-no because your muscles need carbs for energy. And so if you already are fighting to hold on to muscle mass, then cutting the fuel in your muscles is going to work against you, okay? So in reality, the problem is never actually carbs. The problem is the type of carbs and what you're pairing with. So if you're having a bowl of rice with chicken and vegetables, that is a completely different thing than if you're having a bowl of cereal with milk, okay? Same category, completely different impact. So I want you to think about the carbs that you're eating. Are you having the refined carbs, the muffins, the waffles, the pancakes all the time? Or are you eating more complex carbs, so sweet potatoes, rice, quinoa, oats, fruit, the things that are going to help you keep your blood sugar stable? And honestly, one of the things that is really important is the way in which you eat your carbs. So you want to have your protein and your fat first before you eat carbs, because if you're just starting to eat carbs, it's going to spike your blood sugar first. And the protein and the fat are what help stabilize it. Okay, so we've talked about how much you eat, when you eat, what to eat, but here's the thing that trips almost every woman that I work with, okay? It's actually about the story that you've been told about fat and calories since the 90s. And a lot of times it's still running a lot of your decisions, whether or not you realize it. So the next myth, all calories are created equal and fat makes you fat. Okay, look, a calorie is a calorie. All right. So this is one of two myths that kind of come from the same place. And I'm going to hit them together because it's the thing that we still talk about. Okay. The first one is a calorie is a calorie. And that 200 calories of chicken and the 200 calories of cookie are basically the same thing because it's all energy. All right. And here's the thing. Calories are not created equal because what you eat matters so much more than how much you eat. Okay. Because different foods do completely different things for your hormones and your blood sugar and your metabolism. So 200 calories of protein is going to keep you full for hours, and it helps stabilize your blood sugar and it helps support muscle maintenance. Okay. And it also has something that's called a thermic effect, which is actually helping your body burn calories just while you're digesting it. I know, so crazy, but protein is working for you even while you're still sitting on the couch. Look, but 200 calories of sugar, it's going to do the exact opposite, okay? So it's going to spike your blood sugar, it's going to crash your energy, and it's going to trigger more cravings, which is going to make you want to eat more, okay? So same number of calories, completely different cause and effect on your body. All right. So counting calories without looking at what those calories are actually doing is not going to help you in any sort of way. Okay. It's like tracking how many hours you slept without actually caring whether or not they were like good hours or you slept 14 hours, but you were like awake half the night. Okay. The second half of this myth is that fat makes you fat. Okay. And this is pure 90s diet culture. Eating fat makes you fat. So eat low fat everything, okay? So many of us grew up on this, and maybe when I was younger, it could have worked, but now, like, you need fat, okay? And the thing is that you need fat because of your skin, your hair, and your hormones are literally made from fat and cholesterol. So your hormone production is already all over the place anyway. And if you're cutting fat and you're removing like a lot of the stuff, then you're making your body's job already harder. Also, fat slows down digestion, which is going to help keep your blood sugar stable. Are you noticing a trend here? Right? It's all about your blood sugar. And it helps you absorb some of the fat-soluble vitamins, which you need for immune function and bone health and everything in between. Okay? So most importantly, fat is what signals your brain to actually keep you full. All right? And so the thing is I want you to start eating fat. So full fat Greek yogurt, eat the avocado, have the olive oil, eat the whole eggs, not just the egg whites, okay? And when you start to do that, your satiety is going to feel so much better. Okay, real quick. If you're watching this and you're like, okay, but which of these is actually my biggest problem right now? I made a 30-second quiz. It's super short, one question, and it's going to tell you what's getting in your way. Because look, everybody is different, okay? And what's working for somebody might not be working for you. So I want you to go grab the quiz. The link is in the description and go grab it and come back. All right. So now that we've covered what you eat, I want to talk about when you eat because the next myth is everywhere right now. And I see women torturing themselves with it all of the time. And that is intermittent fasting. Okay. Everyone is doing intermittent fasting, and I have not been immune to this. I've done it too. So 16-8, OMAD, whatever version you have seen, and we're told it's the answer for perimenopause weight loss, okay? And look, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that intermittent fasting is always wrong because it does work for some women. But here is what I see women doing constantly. They're exhausted, not sleeping, irritable because they're doing intermittent fasting the wrong way. So they are basically just calling it skipping breakfast. All right. So you're basically not getting enough food. You're skipping breakfast and then it trips your cortisol. So one of the things that you can do instead, if you want to do intermittent fasting, is more along the lines of circadian fasting. Okay. And that is really just eating when you wake up till when you go to bed. So it's like sun up to sundown. At the end of the day, it's like a 12-12. All right. So you have 12 hours of an eating window and 12 hours off. But it's really important to be able to give your body that rest and digest phase Because if you don't give your body that rest and digest phase, it's not giving your body an opportunity to clear everything out. Okay. So instead, I want you to go ahead and when you wake up, go ahead and eat protein within 1 to 2 hours of waking. Okay. And this is going to help set your blood sugar for the entire day. You know that I love my coffee, but when I switched from having my protein before my coffee, it changed so many things for me. So if you want to try intermittent fasting, do a window that doesn't require skipping breakfast, okay? For me, I usually do a 12 and it works because it's not necessarily that I'm intermittent fasting, it's that I'm working on my circadian rhythm. And I eat breakfast, usually around 7, sometimes a little later, just kind of depends on when I get up and get moving and get my kids ready, right? But make sure that you're eating within a couple hours of waking at least 25 to 30 grams of protein. Okay, and it doesn't have to be hard. You can prep a smoothie bag the night before, add in your protein powder in the morning with your liquid, and bada bing, bada boom, you've got your breakfast. Okay, so all of these things you can do to help your body stabilize your blood sugar so you're not having that crash in the afternoon. Okay. If intermittent fasting is making you feel worse, then I want you to stop. Okay. It's not working for your hormones right now. And it's just data that's going to help you. So I want you to tell me if you're a breakfast skipper because I already know that that might be the answer for most of you. All right, so we've talked about food and timing, and I want to talk about the gym because I do think it's actually one of the things that is making women the most miserable in perimenopause because they're confused about why their body's not responding. And that's that you need to exercise more. This is the thing that women do when nothing is working. Well, I need to go exercise more, okay? I need to push harder. I need to do it longer. Okay, I went to Orange Theory. I've done spin classes. I've done HIIT all the time. And I was like, why is this not working? It's like the calories in, calories out. And it wasn't happening for me. Like nothing was losing. I was still like squishy in places I didn't want to be squishy. And I was working really hard. And I was like, okay, why is nothing happening? And I wanted to cry sometimes after these workouts. But here is the truth. More intense and over exercising can actually backfire for you because it's spiking your cortisol too often. And we keep coming back to cortisol because it does cause problems. High cortisol from chronic intense exercise means that you have belly fat storage, especially around your middle, okay? It also is going to make you more hungry and because your body is trying to replace the energy that it burned. And it also means that your body is holding on to weight just because it's in survival mode. And your body's already stressed, okay? You've got all of your hormones changing. You're trying to manage your family, manage the house. You're always probably putting yourself last. And when you add an intense exercise 5 days a week on top of it, you're piling stress into an already stressed system. And so your body is going to respond by holding on to all of that instead of really just letting it go. So if you're doing a ton of cardio, but not eating enough protein, you're actually breaking down muscle, okay? And that is incredibly important because you're making your metabolism slower by thinking that you're doing everything right. It's one of the worst things about perimenopause, okay? Because the things that worked before can actively backfire against you now. So instead, I don't want you to exercise more. I want you to exercise in a way that is supporting your hormones, okay? And walking, it's one of the best things you can do, and it's free. So there's no excuses, all right? 30 to 60 minutes is great if you have the time, but if you don't, break it up into smaller chunks throughout the day. It's going to lower your cortisol. It's going to support your metabolism. It helps with your digestion. A lot of times I will go and I will walk 10 minutes after my breakfast, lunch, and dinner just because it helps with my digestion and it gets me moving. Okay. And sometimes I actually end up wanting to walk for longer because I'm enjoying my time. And then I want you to make sure that you're doing strength training a couple of times a week. Okay. This is non-negotiable in perimenopause because muscle is your metabolism. Every pound of muscle that you build burns calories at rest. And after 40, you're fighting muscle loss so much. So strength training is how you're getting it back. Okay. That's it. Walking and lifting, not 5 days a HIIT. Okay. If you want to do HIIT, like I do it once a week now. All right. Because also I have gut things and that's a whole nother video in and of itself. But less was genuinely more. Okay. So here's the thing. I want you to take away from this video that when you hit perimenopause, when you're in your 40s, things change a little bit. Okay. So eating less and cutting carbs and avoiding fat and doing the whole calories in, calories out, it just doesn't work like it used to anymore. And if you're doing all of these things and you still feel like garbage, this is why. Okay. It's not you. And The new things that you need to be doing: 25 to 30 grams of protein at meal, eating complex carbs, especially at dinner, start eating foods that are actually going to keep you full, eat your breakfast within an hour of waking up, and honestly, if intermittent fasting is making you feel worse, just stop. All right? None of this is complicated. It just is different, probably from what you've been doing. And once you start doing it consistently, you're going to feel it in your energy, in your sleep, and in your cravings before you even see it on the scale. All right? So if you haven't taken the quiz yet, I really, truly encourage you to go take it. It's literally one question, 30 seconds, if that. And it's going to tell you which of these things have been hitting you the hardest and where you need to focus first. And this is where I'd start. And if you're done guessing completely and you want a real plan that's actually built for life, that takes into account your hormones and the chaos of raising kids, then my Real Food Made Easy, the collective, is where you want to start. I will put the link below. And if you're looking for ways to build up your protein intake and you're eating all of the things, but you're not seeing results, then I want you to go watch this video right here, which are the 5 things that you need to stop eating in perimenopause.